Hello, my name is Tia Bingley, and I am here today to talk to you about how the anti-vaccination movement is destroying our society. Anti-vaccination movement, or the anti-vaxxers as they are called, spread scare tactics and false facts in order to further their crusade to not vaccinate your children. I chose to research this topic because as a parent I have encountered far more anti-vaxxers than I ever thought possible, and every person who chooses not to vaccinate their child puts everyone's child at risk. My aim throughout this research paper was to disprove a lot of what they say is true, such as the fact that they believe that the MMR vaccine is linked to autism, or that there's harmful mercury present in all vaccines. Throughout this project, I developed some strengths and weaknesses within my work on its own. I found that some of my strengths were in the research portion of it, and as well having a general knowledge of the topic definitely helped focus my research and what I wanted to say. I also felt that my clarity in getting the point across and my writing style was a strength. My weaknesses within this research paper were having a lack of a more persuasive argument. Although I felt like I did, I don't think that came across as being more to one topic as another, where it instead of more to one side than the other. I tried to do that. I guess I was too diplomatic in that. I also failed to build on my thesis through each paragraph, whereas I used each paragraph to explain a certain point. I also did not use as many quotes within my paper as I could have. But the research that I did do showed that the main points used by anti-vaxxers to further their agenda have zero basis in scientific fact. They failed to research what they are going to say. They use sensational media, sensational statements without any background or any sourcing to further this agenda, which in the end is going to hurt everyone, because communicable diseases such as measles are making a resurgence. The second point I would like to make is that there is one study linking the MMR vaccine to autism in the 1990s. That study has been discredited, and that doctor has been stripped of the right to practice medicine because it was an unethical and flawed study. But yet people still fear that today. The second argument that they most often make is that the vaccines contain mercury. There are different derivatives of mercury, and a basic Google search could tell you that, whereas people still accept that as a blind fact. And the lack of research on parents' part, the lack of accountability for the anti-vaxxer movement helps fuel what they want us to believe. My conclusion to my statement was that despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, anti-vaxxer groups continue to negatively affect our society. Vaccination rates are lowering across the world, and it is based in part on the fact that they just spread whatever they want to spread. There is no accountability whatsoever, and it is harming us. Like, vaccines do not cause autism. Vaccines are not going to make you sick. Vaccines do not contain harmful mercury. In fact, the vaccines that children are given do not contain mercury at all. It is a preservative for multi-dose vaccines, which are not used in Canada for children at all. Throughout this presentation, I felt like I learned a lot about workplace communication. Like, you have to justify what you're going to say with the facts. You have to be clear and precise and readily understood by anybody, regardless of their background on the subject. You have to be able to effectively communicate your point of view in a mature and respectful way, and not just dive down to a lower level where you become argumentative and not open to other people's points of view. I think that that is actually what is wrong with the anti-vaxxer movement in general, is that they are very strict on what they believe in and are unwilling to take another point of view into consideration or do the research necessary to back up their claims. And you have to be open to shifts in your opinion based on facts that you may not have been aware of. I believe that is a very important aspect of communicating in the workplace, because we don't know everything, and being open-minded to learning something new can change your entire point of view on everything. I'd like to thank you for listening to this presentation, and I hope that we together learned a little bit something about vaccinations, what they stand for, and why they're important. Without them, our herd immunity, our built up immunity against these things are at risk, and I know I, for one, do not want to see one of my children come down with the measles or something even worse like polio, simply because some parent didn't look into the science and just took a statement from some random person at face value. Thank you.